religious dogma that we're used to. We need to understand what it means to be kingdom minded. So basically it's like what was happening, right? First, number one, on the Shabbat. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like of all the days, that you can do your foolishness. Someone was killed on the Shabbat. For what? Just gathering sticks, right?
Oh yeah. I think you're talking about that. Yeah, okay.
There's many times when people have been killed for all their different various foolishness. But someone was killed on the Shabbat specifically for gathering sticks, right? And that's where the whole concept, the Yah told us to make fringes so that we remember to keep his commandments. The scripture says in Isaiah 6, to be careful on Yah's day to make sure that we don't profane it. Is it 56? Let me just make sure. Yeah, Yeshaya chapter 56 verse 2 says, "Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it, and keepeth his hands from doing evil." So the verse before says, "Thus says Ahiah, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed." My righteousness to be revealed. Now this goes back to the fear of Ahiah now. Most people do not fear Ahiah. Regardless of, you can put your head and do a headstand and twist and sit, cry out. All of that is just a show. Yah is not even listening to anything that you're doing. You're only deceiving yourself. Because these same people, right? That's why I said it's a complete hypocrisy. These same people are the ones that crying out, shouting, casting and binding demons. And on the Shabbat, you're fighting on the altar. And I was right there. This is not what someone told me. I was right there. And the sister that was fighting, she was fighting against an elder. The sister is like 22 or something, and the elder has a daughter exactly the same age that was on the same altar worshipping in that same situation, and she knew that. So that this woman is definitely not even just by say, she's literally old enough to be your mom, because she has a daughter that's exactly your age. And you want to box down someone's mom in front of her on the Shabbat, on the altar, while you're professing to worship Yah. It's like I'm just saying to myself, and then all this effing and start coming out of her mouth, because the anger had taken over, the demon had taken over her.
Yeah.
I'm just looking, and I didn't even stand up because what am I doing? Separating a fight between a younger and an older. It's like, what are you talking about? You're out of order completely. There's nothing you can say.
Yes.
There's nothing that she can say to you as an elder that you shouldn't have to be able to take. And she didn't say nothing neither, because I was right there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So obviously there was other things that was happening. It wasn't that situation that caused that. There was other things that was underlining. But this is filth that's in the Shirali. But then we mask it up with our religious practices. But none of us are born again. Your heart's not changed, because what came out of her was her real self, apart from all the facade and all the pretense. You get what I'm saying? It's like I was reading. That's why I said to you on thing, I'm fed up of all of that, man. It's like I see it everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not one place. If you're even on social network media, everywhere it's just the same thing. It's how people are so used to the hypocrisy. They claim with their lips they serve Yah, but their hearts are far from Him. So we think the altar is when we gather together here or anywhere we gather. That's the altar, and that's what it means to serve Yah. But the real altar is your heart. Present yourself as a living sacrifice unto Yah, holy, kadash, acceptable unto Him. That's your reasonable service. Romans chapter 12 verse 1 and 2. And do not conform to the ways of the world, but be transformed. That's born again, transformed by the renewing of your mind. Most of us don't even want to go through that transformation process. We just want to carry on religious practices, and then we put different faces to it. In Yasharala today is just your history, and then knowing your history now equates to knowing the ways of Yah, right? It's hypocrisy, man. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. We always like to use these scriptures, right, to go against the heathens. Who is it crying out against? It's crying against Yasharala. Let's keep going. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions. Show them their hypocrisy. This is what Yeshua was doing when he was walking the earth. In Matthew chapter 23, he was crying out against the Pharisees, the teachers of the laws, and the Sadducees. And he was saying to them, you brood of vipers, you whitewashed tombs, telling his disciples, look, whatever they say to do, do that, because they're teachers of the law, right? But don't do what they're doing, because they say and do not. Lip service, hypocrites. Their hearts are far from Yah. Whitewashed tombs. You like to pray on the outside so everyone can see you. Public display. Now that doesn't mean that we don't pray on the outside, but it's about the state of your heart. That doesn't mean we don't get passion. Like we see even Yeshua himself, he prostrated himself in the garden of Gethsemane, and he cried out to Abba. So there's various ways that we pray, but the key thing is the state of your heart. Have you been transformed? Is this word really transforming you, or are you just doing the same thing that you've always done? Backbiting, jealousy, envy, strife, hate. The hate is literally a civil war out here. And I know that Abba's called me to heal, and this is the reason why I'm still here. Because I was gonna leave, but then I just kept on holding back because I love the body, and I can see that this is what needs to happen as a body. If I go away from this, if I go to another congregation, it's gonna be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it needs to be healed. It's something that needs to be fixed. The hypocrisy needs to be scrapped. But then my main thing was to turn to the prophet, to turn to the shepherd, because he is the one that is causing, allowing it to happen. And the way he dealt with it, that's the only reason why I was going to leave, because the way that he dealt with it was like, you're letting, you change. It's like, how can you let that happen? There needs to be, before you can even say you serve Yah, you cannot have the fear of Yah if you cannot fear your physical elders. You can't fear your physical mothers and fathers. The fear of Yah is directly equated to that. That's why the scripture says in Malachi, which is Malachi chapter 4 verse 6, it says, in the last days that the house of the fathers will return to the sons, and the house of the children back to the fathers, before a higher comes and strikes the earth with a curse. So before even anything can start to happen, before we can do anything, our hearts need to return back to the fathers, and the house of the fathers needs to return back to the sons. So we claim to have the fear of Yah, but we have no respect for our elders. How does that work out? It says in Hebrews chapter 12. Let's read it quickly before I'm going to come back to Isaiah chapter 58. What does it mean to fear Yah? Many people don't understand the fear of Yah because they have lost the connection to what it means to reverence and to fear your father. Many people don't even know what it means, what a father is supposed to be. And many fathers are not playing the roles of fathers. That's why we need to be those that are like Yah has cleansed, need to be fathers to the fatherless. Because many of our generation don't know what it means to have a father. Don't know what it means to be a father and to have a father. So they don't know how to revere and reverence a father. When a father gives you instructions, the fear of a father is like you You admire the Father. You admire the fact that you're made in His image. You reverence Him. You fear every word that comes out of His mouth, every instruction He gives, because you're afraid of His power and what He can do. You're afraid of making Him angry. But our people don't even like for them to be fighting on the altar on the Shabbat means they don't have any regard or any fear at all for their physical father, who is the shepherd, right? Would be their physical father in that congregation. They have no reverence or fear for him. You still there, Ash? And definitely no reverence or fear for Yah. You know, let me read that Hebrews chapter 12, verse start from verse 6. For whom Ahijah loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he received. And this is what I was making the shepherd know. Look, I don't like the way you did that all, because she needed to be rebuked instantly. First of all, get off the altar. What's wrong with you people? You get what I'm saying? It's like, don't you have any fear of Yah? You need to make that, emphasize that. But he's trying to be diplomatic. I'm like, what kind of diplomacy? At the end of the day, everyone needs to be careful how they build. So I can't transgress or come into what you're building. I'm only here, just as a servant going from place to place as Yah leads me. You get what I'm saying? But there's just certain things that are not acceptable. You need a fear of Yah. The fear of Yah is the beginning of cleaving to Him. You can't do anything without a fear of Yah. You can't have any understanding without a fear of Yah. You can't even claim to know Yah without a fear of Him. So if your people don't even understand what it means to fear Yah, and you just let certain things like that happen, make it as if it's acceptable, and then even till yesterday, there's still that civil war. There's no humility. There's been no remorse because the shepherd has allowed it. Anyway, let's keep on going. For whom Ahijah, like it even says in Proverbs chapter 6 verse 23, the commandment is a lamp, the law is life, reproofs of instructions are the way of life. Our way of life needs to be reproven and being instructed so that we can heal the places where we have issues. The places where there's anger eaten, hatred eaten inside of us, they need to be healed. Not put under the carpet and then pretend to worship Yah. It's all vanity, it's all dead works. Many of us claim to worship Yah, we haven't even started. It's all dead works. Because the real issues that plague in our soul, we're not dealing with it. Right, let's keep going. For Ahijah loveth, whom Ahijah loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening of Ahijah deals with you as sons. For what son is he that the father chasteneth not? Every son, like my son, the first thing in raising him up, if he does something wrong, correct him straight away. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he is my image. He's a reflection of me. Everything that he does wrong is a reflection of what I have done wrong in raising him up. Train a child in the way they go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. So when Yah gives us instructions, when Yah tells us the Shabbat, keep it holy, the same thing you do not do on Shabbat. When Yah says, to follow all my ways and keep my commandments. It's like a father giving his child instructions. Khan? Let's keep on going, verse 8. But if ye be without chastisement, wherefore all are partakers, every single last one of us are supposed to be accountable, are supposed to go through chastisement. So if the people around cannot even endure being rebuked, endure, and then you feel like you, as a shepherd, that you need to cut your tongue, you're only healing the wounds of the people slightly. Like it says in R.A.W chapter 8, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. You're basically mixed up the wine with water. And that's why there is no power in the body. Because we are not even a body. Because our hearts are far from each other. So how can your heart be close to Yah if when you can see your brother that's right next to you and your heart's far from him? How can you claim to love Yah when you don't love your brother? And that's the same person that you are constantly fellowshipping with. Verse 9 now says, furthermore, we have had fathers of the flesh. So Yah is paralleling how, as it is in heaven, here on earth, as it is in Shamayam, here on heaven, earth. Let your kingdom come as it is in heaven, here on earth. The ways of Yah is reflected in how we conduct ourselves here. So if you don't have any fear of your earthly fathers, you don't have any fear of Yah. You can't. There's no faith in that. If you don't have any humility towards your brothers and towards each other, right, serving each other, how can you say you have humility and you're serving Yah? It says, furthermore, if we had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence, shall we not much more rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? Right? Verse 11 now says, now no chastising for the present seemeth joy. So she has gotten rebuke. It wouldn't be, she's not going to like it, but it needs to be done. Whether she leaves, if she leaves, cool. If she's really wanting to serve Yah, she will come right back. Like Shaul said, if they left, that means they will never fought with us to start off with. No chastisement for the present seemeth joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them that that are exercised thereby. Just like with any exercise, you've got to constantly keep on doing it in order to be able to receive the fruits of it. So we're exercising the word of righteousness that's going to be able to engraft into our soul, that's going to be able to save us, so that we can do the things that are pleasing unto Yah, so that when that time comes, Yah doesn't say, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you. That's what we need to be really afraid of. Then says, wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees. All those places that, are paralyzed by through sin and through our evil, wicked conducts, and make straight the paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Healing, true healing in the body, that's what we need right now. And we need true prophets. All the false prophets need to start to get exposed, so that the true prophets can actually do the work, like really bind up the body. That's why it talks about binding up the brokenhearted. It talked about in R.A.W, you haven't built a wall for the children of Yasharala in the days, for them to fight. It talks about the prophets that have seen nothing yet they ran. But that's R.A.W chapter 23 verse 21. And then when you see parallel in Azariah chapter 13, it says, because with lies ye have made the heart of the righteous sad. That's Azariah chapter 13 verse 12. With lies ye have made the heart of the righteous sad. These things are just certain things that are not acceptable in the body. So it just really comes to that time now where certain things need to now start to get torn off, like talked about the battle axe and weapon of war, root out to destroy and to rebuild. Because in order for us to build what we need to build, certain things need to get uprooted. All the hypocrisy needs to get uprooted, so that we can serve Yah in spirit and in truth. None of us are just serving Yah in the right way. We're all far from it. We're just doing business as usual. Every last one of us. Especially including the place I'm here right now. And it's all manifesting. And it's like everyone knows it. That's the point. That's the point of making me think, okay, so why do you keep going against the Christians or going against other sects and all the denominations? You there, Ak?
That's not Ak. I pressed the button.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is the thing now. All through Yasharala, all I see is hypocrisy. So why do we keep going on against like all these other camps, all the other denominations? Why do we go against each, like each other when we know that we're doing the same things ourselves? You know, Ezekiel 13 that we read earlier, it says, talks about these prophets that have seen nothing, and yet they prophesy. Then it goes on to say, ye have not gone into the gaps. So these are the gaps in the body. Verse 5, I'm reading verse 5, Ezekiel chapter 13 verse 5. Ye have not gone into the gaps. Like what I'm doing here right now is going into the gaps. Before even all of this happened, I already prophesied. I showed him what was going on in the spirit. There's things, there's a dark cloud that's covering, that's stopping your light from going out and shining. I also showed him clearly, like the morning before this happened, I showed him clearly that I saw a vision, you know, and he was driving a car, and when the car crashed completely, and I had to call the paramedics to fix them up and fix the car up, and I told him to take it off autopilot. You know, and he took it off autopilot, and then that's what's happening. You're letting the people just do whatever they want to do, instead of giving them specific instructions, going into the gaps and finding out what's going on and build a hedge so that our people can stand at the time to come, because the time that's coming is very dark. We're talking about a whole completely new beast. You know, it's not a joke. The same thing, if we can't even cleave together and love one another in the time of peace, how about in the time of war? We're going to devour each other when we have to live together. You know, this is the time that we need to start to build now. This is the time we need to build our storehouses. We can't even trust each other in things that are irrelevant, right? How much more trust my whole life into your hands? Trust my resources into your hands, just like you see in Acts 2. They shared all things together. No one said anything was theirs. Those that had houses sold their houses and distributed as everyone had need. If I'm bickering and biting and fighting about things that are irrelevant, how am I going to be able to sell my house and give for your family to eat? You know, but yet we want to claim that we have the love of a higher. We're all a bunch of hypocrites, you know? Can't stand that stuff. So yeah, Isaiah, going back to Isaiah chapter 58, Yeshaya chapter 58. And now I'm going to read verse 2. It says, yet they seek me daily, every day. You know, claim to seek Yah. But how blind can you see that to know that Yah is not even listening to you? All of that is just your emotions and your sensationalism. Every single last one of us, in Yashirala, whether Christians, whether Muslim, whatever you're dealing with, every single last one of you are in the same boat. You're all just following different facets of religious practices, because none of you know what it means to serve Yah in spirit and in truth. And that's what the Father seeks, those that worship Him in spirit and in what? Truth. In truth. All of you lie to one another. You're not seeking Him in truth. Because when you know what's really going on, right, why are you pretending and being hypocrites instead of dealing with the real situation? Look at GOCC, for instance. Remember when the whole thing with GOCC, when I went in and I was seeing the gaps in what was going on in there, and I was telling them, look, you need to, that the single mothers in here in your congregation, I could very easily count 8. You've been there, so you know what I'm talking about. Very easily count 8 single mothers that are in that congregation. So why is it that if every man here was put 5 pounds together, right? Doesn't it say in Jeremiah chapter 22 verse 16, he judged the cause of the poor and the needy, and it was well with him? Was this not to know me, says Ahaya? So before we even go out and start showing the love of Ahaya, we need to do exactly that within our midst. So if every single man here was to give 5 pounds every 2 weeks or whatever, right, towards these women having towards their bills, that would take a burden off them. And that's the minimum. That would do nothing. 5 pounds. You can easily, if you were to take me out to Nando's now, you're going to spend maybe 10 pounds. You get what I'm saying? So what is 5 pounds like for men? These are men that are working. So, and then they shut me down. So it just really showed, and that was just one aspect of it. You know, a lot of things that's going on. Most of the people there don't even know each other. All it is just religious practices. This is the whole of Yashirala doing this. And let me keep on reading now. It says, and they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of Abba Yah. They ask of me ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching Yah. So you're asking, oh, how can we serve you acceptably? How can we do your ways? The word tells you exactly what we're supposed to do. But you don't want to do it. You just want to keep on pretending that you want to, and then you seek him and you're coming to him. But all that is just so that you can keep on with your own ways and tailor Yah's ways to your own ways. Then it goes on to say, they ask of the ordinance of justice and delight in approaching Yah. Wherefore have we fasted? So they're asking Yah the question now. Oh Yah, why have we fasted? Say they, and thou seest not. So they acknowledge that Yah is not even seeing. Because if we are real with each other, when I look at the miracles that was happening in Acts, when I see the miracles that Yeshua did, he wasn't hiding the miracles. It's not something that was undeniable. Everyone from different nations were coming over because they knew there was someone that was good and was filled with the Spirit and was doing all sorts of.
I said, that's true.
Right. And so it's not the lying signs and wonders where you only do it on TV. You know, if Yah was on earth right now, the prophets would be going into the hospital and healing the sick. There will be no sick amongst our midst. Look at, he got to the point. This is how deep the power was on them after the outpouring in Acts 2, right? When they all came together with one heart, like you see, as a nation, how he doesn't deal with individuals. As a nation that likes to know my way. So as a nation, we're not a body, we're not a nation. As a nation, we're not cleaved together, so the Spirit cannot pour in us. That's why we don't see the outpouring of the Spirit in the earth right now. Everything else is just lying theatrics. Right? Because when you see even Peter, it's like got to the point where there was so much hazard on them as a body that people were afraid of them. Peter's shadow, the people came and they just all they wanted is that Peter's shadow, they just touch them. Imagine that. You don't even have to have physical contact. His shadow, because they knew what was overshadowing them. Even if his shadow came close to them, they knew they would get healed. Is this what we see right now in the body? Well, so-called body? So all of us as a nation of people really need to humble ourselves and repent and see where we are falling. But because we have all these lying prophets that are healing the wound of the people slightly, saying peace, peace, when there is no peace, we think we're doing righteousness. We think we're doing the right way. So we just carry on with and this is the same thing I'm seeing here with the hypocrisy. So the shepherd, that's why I have to go against the shepherd, because I'm telling him, look, you're the ones allowing this to happen. Because you telling them it's okay, and the next time, so why are you complaining when it happens again? And again and again and again. And then why are you even saying I should intervene? I'm not the shepherd here.
Yes.
Because you don't want my mouth. You don't want me to say what I have to say. And I already see the Spirit that's going there already. And I could already discern how you were going to deal with it. So like Paul said, Shamazayah said, I'm not going to go into another man's land. I'm not going to go into someone else's boundary. Every man has what Yah has put in his heart to build. So if you're sure that that's effective, like it says in Luke as well, Yeshua said, whoever building a tower doesn't first count the cost whether he has enough to finish it. Whoever going to war with 10,000 against one that has 20,000 doesn't first see if he consult whether he has enough to meet him that has 20,000, or else he just look for an ambassador of peace and say, look, let's squash it. So what I'm building is different. So I have to make that, emphasize that thing. I'm building warriors. I'm not building sissies, because the time will come into we have to be strong. I'm building a love army, an army where we are knitted together in pure love for one another, because unity is strength. The beast, the only reason why they're becoming more powerful is because they're united. So when you see United Nations, their legislations all benefit their system. Everything they do, and they take even your ways and they conform it to their system so that they can be stronger. So every time we're divided, we are weak. It's unity in one. Even if you look in Genesis chapter 11, what was the main thing in Genesis chapter 11 that Yah said? Imagine Yah himself saying, if we leave them alone, right, they would accomplish anything that they put their heart to, because they're one. And that's why he has to confound their languages. And the only reason why they can't cleave together right now is because they're divided in languages. And that's why they want, and languages, not just speaking about just languages, but language is a huge part. That's why I always encourage people to go back to the ancient Hebrew. Like you see in Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 9, it says he will restore to us a pure language so we can all serve a higher in one consent. We can all call on his name with one consent, because there's only a limit, because that's why they have to make everyone conform to English. The time of the Assyrian Empire, everyone has to become conform to the Assyrian tongue. So that is all part of, it's embodied. Your culture is the root of your cultural advancement. Intellectual properties all tied into your culture, to your way of doing things. So if you're speaking another person's language, you're going to adopt their ways. You're going to take in whatever they allow, whatever they don't allow. So if you're speaking English, that's why when people come from maybe Africa, maybe you were speaking the Igbo language, as soon as you come over, you're going to be able to learn all what homosexuality is. You know, you're going to be able to learn what all of the filth is, because you're now able to communicate with that body of people, and then from there you're going to be able to learn their ways. That's why the scripture says in Jeremiah chapter 10, learn not the ways of the heathens. How do you learn someone's ways? By knowing their language, knowing their culture, and then integrating with their culture. That's why we're supposed to be set apart. Separate yourself. What association just light have with darkness? What does the temple of Baal have to do with the temple of Ahia? Separate yourself and I'll receive you. You know, so it's just high time that we start to, and then this the reason why I was bringing that up is culture now. You know, we are adopting the culture and we bring that in to the body, and we think we know the ways of Yah. You know, right. Anyway, so let's find out what Yah actually what he expects of us. He goes on to say in Yeshaya chapter 3 now, it says, wherefore have we fasted? So the people are asking now, we fasted and thou seest not. Well, hold on, we are afflicting our souls for you, Yah, and you're not seeing it. Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? So you spend hours and hours and hours, night vigil, day vigil, every vigil. Right? You're crying out in it, but you know deep down inside of your soul, Yah is not listening to none of that. It's all sensationalism. All of you in Yeshua are no different from Christians. You're doing the same thing. Let's keep on going. And thou takest no knowledge. Behold, in the day of your fast, ye find pleasure. You're only doing your own ways in the day that you claim to fast. You're tailoring the word to suit your agenda. And exact all your labor. So the things that you work for, you keep it to yourself. You're not trying to be, you're not serving the body. You're serving yourselves off the body. To the body. So you serve yourselves off the body to the body. Do you understand what I mean by that? So in claim, you're still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay. In claiming to serve Yah, what you're just doing is you're only using as a platform so that you can, whatever demons are still inside plaguing your soul, they're still inside of you, they can have a place to rest. So that's why you have to dim the lights down. You can't have pure light, you can't have complete darkness. Just let it be neutral. Let it be lukewarm, not hot, not cold, so that your demons can play there too. Ye find pleasure and exact all your labors. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. They didn't understand how wicked what they were doing was, and they still puffed up while they're doing it. Just like Shamaziah had to push the guy out of the place, because he didn't even realize he was, instead of him to repent after he had slept with, committed such abomination and fornication, right? Instead of him to repent of it, he was puffed up. It's exactly what happened here. Rather than repenting and everybody, the whole congregation crying out to Yah and humbling himself, they're still puffed up. I'm speaking to even the shepherd. The shepherd is telling me, yeah, do whatever you want to do. I'm like, okay, that's the reason why you're still having this going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep on going. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day. Stop that. Yah is saying, scrap it all. Be born again. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I don't want none of it. If I tell you I don't want it, why are you still giving me it? It's not a gift that's acceptable to me. Like it says in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. That ye may do that which is acceptable unto you. Present yourself as the living. It's yourself that I'm looking for. It's your heart that I'm looking for. Your soul. That's what I want to see. I'm not seeing all this outward show that you're giving. If your soul is not right towards your body, which is my body, right? We are the body of Yasharallah, right? So if your soul is not right towards the body, then your soul is not right towards me. That's what I want to see. So everything else, I don't want that. Don't give it to me. Because it says, let me even read it, because I've quoted that. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of R.A.W, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice. That's the sacrifice that is a living sacrifice on a day-to-day basis. How you live with each other. That's the sacrifice that's pleasing unto God. Kadash, acceptable unto Abba, which is your reasonable service. That's your reasonable service. That's the only service that Yah wants. So everything else you're giving is your own agenda. That's what you want to give. And why are you expecting Yah to show up when you're not doing what he said to do? Just keep on doing your foolishness. This is what the Pharisees were doing. It's not what Yah wants. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove. This is why what we're seeing today, like we're just saying right now, the Gentiles, this is why they blaspheme the name of Ahaya, because they're not really seeing, you're not proving nothing to them. You can go through history and this and that, but are you demonstrating the power of Yah on the earth as a body? Shamaziah said in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, he says, I've not come with enticing speech, but with demonstration of the power of Yah. And this is exactly what it is, that you may prove what is good. Prove what is good and what is the acceptable and perfect will of Ahaya. And because we can't prove it, that's why we have to shout louder. And that's why we have to dance more.
That's true.
Because we have no power. We can't prove it. And that's why we have to rebuke people and shout on the streets and tell them, you're the devil that the Bible speaks about, and all of that stuff, because we can't really prove the spirit in us. Because the spirit's not in us to start off with. We can't prove none of the things that we're saying, demonstrated by the power of Yah. We can't do it. So how can you prove what's acceptable when it's not transformed you as a person? You can't say you're Kadash by your mouth and then you're living as a pagan. Let's go back to Yeshaya chapter 58. And then it goes on to say, verse 5, is it not a fast that I have chosen? Yah is telling you, this is a fast that I have chosen. A day for man to afflict his soul. This is how you afflict your soul. Is it not to bow? Is it to bow his head like a bulrush, or to spread sackcloth under him? Is this what I've chosen, for you to bow your head down and pretend and put your head and do a handstand? That's exactly what the people were doing while you're desecrating my altar. you're fighting each other on the altar, on the Shabbat, but then afterwards, just yesterday, you're crying and shouting and clapping and dancing and shouting. It's all hypocrisy. And to spread sackcloth and ashes under him, will thou call this a fast? Will you call this a fast and an acceptable day unto a higher? Just like we saw, to prove what is acceptable unto a higher. So will you call all of that theatrics now? Will you call that an acceptable day to a higher? Will you say that that's a gift that higher wants? Let's go and find out what Yah wants of us now. Verse 6. Is it not, it's not this. It's not this. Yah's telling this is what Yah wants. Right? Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke. That's to serve each other with all of your heart and all of your soul, all of your resources, everything that you have. That's why in Acts 2 they shared all things together. No one thought anything was theirs. Those that had houses sold their houses. So they're losing the band of wickedness. What this wicked system has done in crippling our people, now you're taking that burden off of them. This is what I was trying to show the brothers in GOCC. Take the burdens, lift that burdens off these fatherless. Because the fact that they don't have their fathers there with them, and the mothers are having to raise up this children on their own, that means they're fatherless. They're struggling. You need to take off that burden off them. To father to the fatherless, right? We need to be a husband to the widow. So why are we not doing this as a body? It goes to lose the band of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke. So those that have no unemployment, that unemployment is a yoke on them. Break that yoke off them. That's why Yeshua said, take my yoke upon you. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. My yoke is basically love one another, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So once you do that, now your heart is set free from all of that junk. When you serve the body with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your strength, you can sleep peacefully, knowing that Yah is with you. Because that's what it means to know Yah. Let's go to R.A.W. Hold that. Go to R.A.W. chapter 22, verse 16. It says, He judgeth the cause of the poor and the needy. Then it was well with him. So how I know that it's well with me is when I judge the cause of the poor and the needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, said a higher? So we're clapping, dancing, singing, shouting, claiming to know a higher. None of us know a higher. But if you want to know him, start to judge the cause of the poor and the needy. Then it will be well with you. That's what it means to know Yah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's see Isaiah chapter 61. What is the anointing that we receive? What is it supposed to be for? Isaiah chapter 61 verse 1. The spirit of Ahiah is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek, not to the high-minded, unto the meek, the very least, like Yeshua said in Matthew chapter 25. When you did it to the least of my brethren, you did it unto me. So to everybody now, we need to lift them up. Preach good tidings. If they're feeling feeling sad, they can't pay their bills, it's like, okay, I can help you with that, and you just stay strong. We've got you. We are here with you. We're here for you. Everything that I have is yours. Don't worry. This is what the preaching of good tidings is. This is the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom. Our kingdom is coming. Don't worry. You're not always going to have unemployment, and as long as you're with us, we are going to take care of you 100%, because you are me and I am you. You're my flesh, you're my bones. We are one body. This is how the body thinks right now. Instead, we envy each other and we pull each other like crabs in a bucket, pulling each other down. We adopt the same mentality of the heathens. Right, let's keep on going. To preach good tidings to the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. Just like we read earlier on in Yeshua chapter 58. To proclaim liberty to the captives. So this system has held the people captive, trapped their mind. We need to fix that. We need to help them. We need to serve the body with all of our heart and all of our soul and all of our strength. That's what it means to serve Yah with all of your heart and all of your soul, all of your strength. That's why he said 2 main commandments are serve Ahaya with all of your heart and all of your soul and all of your strength, and in like manner. Just like you claim to do that, you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So to the extent to which we love our neighbor is the extent to which we really love Yah. Like it says in 1 John 1 Yachanan chapter Akari Yachanan chapter 4 verse 20. Now it says, if a man say, I love Ahaya, like we all proclaim to, right, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love Ahaya whom he has not seen? So you can see his physical body, because that's the body of Ahaya, right? So you don't love his body, but you claim to love the spirit that you can't see. How does that make any sense? Because Yah is a spirit. So if you can't love, if my spirit cannot cleave onto your spirit, right, and become one, and that now, because we are one, that I serve you with all of my heart, all of my soul, all of my strength, the same way I serve Yah, because our spirits are already connected, we're already in heavenly places, sits together, knitted together as one body. So if we are one body, then I need to serve you with all of my heart, all of my soul, all of my strength, physically, as it is in the Shamayam here, Wa'arataza, on the earth. Let's keep on going. Let's go back to Yeshaya chapter 58. Then verse 7 now says, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor as cast out of thy house, when thou seest the naked, that thou coverest him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Don't hide yourself from your own flesh. Then, that's what Ahaya is now saying. When you do this, then shall thy light break forth as the morning. You shine as a light. A light on the hill cannot be hid. Then you're going to start seeing the same miracles that you're seeing in the scriptures that you read. You're going to start to, people are going to be coming to the light. It says, King shall come to the shine, the brightness of your light. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning. Only when you're doing this is when your lights are going to break forth. If you're not doing this, all you're doing is just hypocrisy. Let's just see that in Isaiah chapter 60 verse 3. Just to precept the then that breaking forth. Isaiah chapter 60, I'll start from verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Ahaya is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Ahaya shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So the glory of Ahaya will be seen upon us. And the Gentiles shall come to the light, to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. They basically, just like you see with Yeshaya, wherever he went, he was doing good. People were coming all over to come to him, bring their sick to him. They got to a point where they couldn't enter through the front because there was too many people. They had to lower someone from the roof.
That's very serious.
Serious, but we're not even seeing not even a fraction of that in the body right now. We're not even a body. Let's just admit that first of all. We're not a body. When you see in Acts 2, when the Spirit, that's why Yeshua had to say to them, Tarim Yara Washalam, so you get endowed with the Spirit. Wait, because you don't get this yet. When you get it, when the Spirit comes upon you, when this word gets full inside of you, when it captures your heart, then you're going to do the things that are acceptable unto Ahaya. Then people are going to see your light. Just like in Acts 2, they shared all things together, they had all things in common. Then you saw great hasad on them. It wasn't before. After they did that, after they cleaved onto each other, then they became a body. Then you saw their light shining. And then things like Peter's shadow, people wanted to be around Peter's shadow just so that they could get healed. Only then shall thy light, going back to Yeshua chapter 58 verse 8, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily. Thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of Ahiah shall be thy reward. It shall reward continuously. The glory of Ahiah shall continuously overshadow you. Then shalt thou call, and Ahiah shall answer. Everything else is just wasting your time. Shout, you can shout, you can turn up the mic, right, till when you scream the glasses shatter. Ahiah is not there. It's just all sensationalism. All you're doing is just turning the emotions of the people, but that has nothing to do with the power of Ahiah. The power of Ahiah has nothing to do with how loud you shout, or how much you dance, and how much, like, workout you do, claiming to follow Ahiah. You might as well go to the gym, because that's all you think. You're jumping, like the amount of times you can do jumping jacks is what makes you connected to Ahiah. No, Ahiah is dealing with your heart. Then shalt thou call, and Ahiah shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, and put forth the putting forth of the fingers. That's literally this is what happened. The little girl putting her finger to the elder. They're putting forth of the finger, accusing each other, and instead of us to unite together and cleave together as one. The putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity. You want this profanity that came out of this little girl's mouth.
How old was she again?
22. Ridiculous. And the elder that she was speaking to like that didn't even say nothing to her. And the elder that she was speaking to,
was she scared of that young lady?
no, the elder was just like, do what you want to do. She eventually started getting angry as well, because I don't blame her. That's a complete disrespect. Because her daughter is just right there on the same platform too. Her daughter was very calm. That's where I was saying it's about fruits. I can see the fruits of Yah on her daughter.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I don't know what else has transpired before, but I judge by the fruits. A good tree cannot bring forth bad fruits. She was very calm. Not many people would have that patience, someone talking to your mother like that. And even till now, she's still being patient with the whole situation because they haven't repented. So this is the whole drama, and I'm like, what's this? You know what I'm saying? That's why when Yasharal is coming back, which is people don't realize it's here right now. It's the spirit. This is when you're hearing this word right now. Yeshua is not coming as a physical being. He's coming as a body. His body is Yasharala. That's why it says his new name is Yasharala. That's his name that was given in Genesis chapter, is it 34? Remember when Yaakov's name was changed? Yaakov's name was changed to Yasharala. That's his new name. Genesis chapter 32 verse 28. So we're looking for Superman to crack the sky and don't realize that the word is already going out. As the kingdom now starts to rise up, right? The wheat are going to be separated from the shaft. And this is what needs to happen. The threshing floor, it says it's going to thresh his floor. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm threshing the floor. Even if it's just one family, if it's just 8 people, if it's just me and my wife and a few brothers that see it, then let's keep righteousness in the fear of Ahiah. Let righteousness spring forth on the earth again. Everything else needs to get destroyed. Because it can't continue like that. And then it goes on to say, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, draw out your soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, and then thy light shall shine in obscurity, and thy darkness shall be as noonday, and Yah shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bone, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose water faileth not. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. So what comes out from you, from this pure seed now, the next generation are going to build all the old places. So we're going to set the foundation But the generation that are going to fix it are Abiah's generation, are Naiah's generation, are the next generation, that coming from us. It says, they that be of thee. When you have your child, that generation is what's going to, fix things on earth. So you need to set the righteous foundation. It says, they that be of thee.
I have a child. If
Having children is good. That's your strength.
Wait, if it's not, it's for certain. Who's to say?
It's not for certain, but that's what Yah's will is for you. Let's get that quickly. Let's get Psalm chapter 1-7. So don't get into that mindset of like the Gentiles where it's acceptable not to have children, because that is your strength. Like we see here, you're not going to be able to do what you need to. That seed is not going to be able to transfer. It's the ones that come off you that are going to be able to build the things that you've already started to labor on. You're going to transfer your spirit into them. And I'll read a few scriptures for you so that you can see it clearly, and you can start to think down that road. You can start to plan to build your kingdom as a priest as well. Psalm chapter 1-7 verse 3. Khan? Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Psalm chapter 1-7 verse, let's start from verse 3. Lo, children are an heritage from a higher. That's a gift that higher has given you. So in saying that you don't, like, you might not, it's like saying you don't, like, I might not be blessed of Yah. Children.
No, not really. Because not every prophet or disciple was married.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was because they had to, like, for instance, Shamazayah, the times they were in was a time of war. So you can't just have children and then not raise them up. So he was speaking about dispensation. He was saying, if you read there in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, he was saying, I could wish that all of you were like me, And then if you read afterwards, he was speaking about the persecutions that they were going through. That was the reason why he was saying, for the virgins to stay a virgin, it's better that the men don't give their wives, their daughters away. But the norm is not that. Okay, we'll go through it.
This is still end times right now, like the war is already begun.
Absolutely. But then the key thing that you gotta see here, 1 second, let me get some scriptures. The key thing that you need to see at this stage now is, okay, I've got what I wanted. Sirach chapter 30. The key thing that you need to see at this stage now is, just like you see with Yahushua, the reason why the next generation after Yahushua could not give them rest, because he didn't understand what a higher means. So as much as he took them into the promised land, right, he couldn't give them rest, because the next generation after them started doing wickedness, because he hadn't impacted because you need to impact your righteousness into the next generation, and then it will be as if you had never died. The spirit of a higher is going to continue. That's what eternity is. It's a family.
Sorry, hold on.
Right. So if you see, like, first of all, I'm going to read 1 Corinthians chapter 7 first, right, before we go back to Psalm chapter 1-7. I want to show you Paul's thought process, why he was saying what he was saying. Right? It was for a dispensation of time. Like right now, I'm not going to go out and I already have one of my children because I understand. Right? But I'm not going to start have dozens of children yet until we have set up our nation. You get what I'm saying? Because the time is going to come when we start to have to move about, but have dozens of children. When we have this exodus, it's not going to be easy. Okay, so remember, Shaul was called to who? The Gentiles. That's very important to see that. So there's a lot of things that still needed to be cleansed. The fullness of the Gentiles still needed to take place. So when you're mixing, you're not supposed to mix seed. So when you're marrying, you're speaking to Corinthians, there's still a sifting that still needed to go through. So a priest, you don't even know there's still the genealogy issue that still needed to deal with. So it's like, look, at this stage, you need to stop mixing. Stop. In fact, if you possible, don't get married until we're able to sort this out. Like you see with in Ezra chapter 10, the priest had to get rid of the children that they've had, because it's an abomination. So we'll go through it. We'll go through it properly. So that I want you to see it clearly, right, and understand why, like, certain ordinances, because ordinances are not just given. Ordinances don't contradict each other. Ordinance is not just given for the sake of just being given. This one, dispensation of time, and then two, what issues need to be resolved at that point, like as a nation of people. What is it that they conform to that needs to be removed, so they have different ordinances that will help them in those stages. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 7. So in verse 1 it says, now concerning the things which I wrote to you, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. So Shaul was saying, look, it's better that men don't touch a woman. It's like when you're going to war. You know, most time when you go to war, you leave your family, you know, war mode. Like it says in R.A.W, in Alaya, Joel, you know, chapter 3, where it says prepare for war. You know, there has to be a preparedness. You have to have a mindset of war, which is where we are right now. But I will show you certain things. I will show you things that are very important here at this stage. Right, so it goes on to say, verse 2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Then now he jump down to verse 25. Verse 24. Hear this. Very, very important to hear this, because you need to see how Shamaziah is thinking. It says, verse 24, brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with a higher. So you know, if your calling is, you're sure that, okay, a higher is called you at this time not to touch a woman, or not to have any children at this time, and just to seek the kingdom and push completely. And then when you get into the kingdom, you have the children that you're supposed to have. You will have seen, Yah will have spoken to you, showing you specifically where you're going. Like for instance, I know that I'm supposed to have my child. I've seen that right from the beginning. Do you get what I'm saying? But you need to, Yah is not going to leave you in the dark about that. You need to know. But whatever calling Yah has called you to do, then you stay in that. As a nation, children are very important, and we need to raise them up in the right way. Let's keep on going. But then I will also show you one other thing as well, because the scripture also says the abundance of ungodly seed is a waste. So this is the reason why certain things, like when you just keep on having children and all of them are, you know, raising them up in the right way, you still need to be built up yourself, then that needs to be stopped. Because all you keep doing is bringing up all these creatures, you know, not in the fear of Yah. And that's what we read in Yeshaya chapter 60, 58, where it says, you know, then your seed, you know, will build the waste places and raise up the foundations of many generations. They that come of thee, your own seed. And before you can even do that, then you need to be set in a certain way yourself. So you need to have the right foundation to start off with to impact that into your seed, or else don't even get married and don't start to bring forth seed. Okay? Let's keep on going. And then he now goes on to say, I suppose therefore, it says verse 25, I'm reading 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 25. Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment from a higher. So Shamaziah is making it clear. It's not a higher commanding that you don't do this, you know. But then he's not going to explain why he's saying all that he said earlier on. As one that obtained mercy from a higher to be, yet I give my judgment. So he's saying, look, I've assessed the situation right now, and I'm giving my judgment. Speaking to Corinthians, speaking to the current church, who have so much promiscuity, and he's still having to deal with the church in a certain way. So he's like, look, I'm giving you my judgment as a builder right now. Yeah? And it says, as one that has obtained mercy from a higher to be faithful. I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. This is good for the present distress. This is good. I'm not saying Yah has not said you should do this, but I'm saying this is good for the present distress that you're facing. Distress physically, distress in your soul. There's still a lot of things that still need to build, and you're going to transfer all of that filth into the next generation. We can't have that, because then we have to purge another generation again. Can't. I want you to really understand this. I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good. It is good for a man to be so. Art thou bound to a wife? Seek not to be loosed. So he's now making a distinction. If Yah has told you, I want you to have a wife and have children, that means he's purified your soul. Don't seek to be loosed from that. Stay in that calling, right? If Yah has said, art thou loosed from a wife, seek not a wife. But if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. If you marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall be troubled in the flesh, but I spare you. So the normal is for you to have the seed multiply, fill up the earth. So if you do it and you still haven't, fixed up your soul, then you're gonna be troubled. Your children are gonna be, you're gonna be troubled by your children. You're gonna be troubled by the distress when the war breaks out or whatever happens. You're gonna have to deal with that. But it's okay. That's why he says, I spare you. It's okay. You haven't done anything wrong. Yeah, verse 29 now says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. So the time is short. The key thing, the emphasis should be now, you to work on your soul. So don't let anything distract you. You can have a wife, then you now become distracted by it. Right? So you need to work on your soul. And once you have got to a certain place now, then you can impact that into your seed. And then raise the next generation in the fear of Yah. Then he goes on to say, verse 29, but I say the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. So even if you have your wife, you need to be as though you have none. You need to work on your soul. Don't now get caught up in the way of the world, caught in with the lust of the world which you've been used to. You need to be renewed in your mind. So don't give in to that same patterns you've been doing things in the world. You need to be transformed by the word to do the ways of Yah that's pleasing to him. Verse 30 now says, and they that weep as though they weep not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of the world passed away. I would have you without carefulness, because we're given to the cares of this world. And then once you marry now if your wife has a certain mindset which all she wants is sex or whatever it is, and you still don't even have a kingdom mind, like we titled this kingdom mindedness, right? It's just gonna be, you're gonna keep on having the care of the world, and you're not gonna serve a higher as you ought to. So your wife might say, oh, you love the body more than you love your own family, but the body is your family. So if you're using your resources to help the other brothers, now your wife, because she doesn't have a kingdom mindedness, she's going to be saying, and these are things that you're going to have to deal with. But if you're going to marry, you need to have a specific mindset. If you're going to have your children, you have a specific mindset that you know that they need to understand that you seek the kingdom first and his righteousness. Everything else has to conform to that. Hallelujah. Then he goes on to say, he that is unmarried careth for the things that belongeth to a higher, how he might please a higher. So how you serve the body, how you please the body. Okay, so only a higher can now say to you and reveal to you what stage that you are in. I can't say to you what stage your soul is in right now. Even being like I being married right now, all of my service is to a higher. Like you see my wife and my child, I'm in Birmingham right now. I didn't stop doing the work I needed to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna with all fervency, and my child is gonna be raised up in every way of the fear of Yah. You get what I'm saying? Once your soul is in that stage, Yah would reveal to you whether you want you to have a wife and have children or not. Let's keep on building this. So I really want you to see this clearly. So we're gonna go to let's go to Psalms chapter 1 to 7. Are you opening it with me? 127 verse, start from verse 3. Because I really want you to get this, because this makes a lot of brothers stumble a lot of times, and you don't realize the importance of what it means, like having your seed. That is, if you don't understand the importance of having your seed, you don't understand eternity. And I'll show you what, like, how that translates, and how you understand eternity through your seed. Right. So I read Psalms chapter 127 verse 3. Lo, children are the heritage of a higher. Key, that's very clear. Regardless of what it's a dispensation of time, children are the heritage of a higher. And the fruit of the womb is his reward, is a higher's reward for you, for all your effort, all your labor in building the kingdom. That's your reward. Can as arrows in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Are you still with me? Happy is he that has a quiver full of them. Not one, not two, not three. A quiver. Go into the world and multiply and fill the earth. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Now let me show you why Shamaziah was saying it's better not to even touch a woman. Let's go to Sirach chapter 16. Are you there? I really want you to make, are you making notes of it as well? I've recorded it so you can go back and watch it again, so that you understand, and then you can make a decision how you build your house, right? That's why the scripture says, you know, whoever building a tower doesn't first count the cost whether it has sufficient to finish it. Your distance, I can't hear you. Are you still there? Okay, you're a little bit distant. Right, it says Sirach chapter 16 verse 1. Start from verse 1. It says, desire not the multitude of unprofitable children. So just like we read in Psalms chapter 127, have plenty of children, right? But the scripture says, don't desire the multitude of unprofitable children. So have plenty of children, but it's godly children you want, righteous children. You need to be set in lay the foundation of righteousness and train the child in the way they will go so that they don't depart from it. But if you're not set yet, then you can't start to desire children, because you're going to start to desire unprofitable children. So it says, desire not the multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in unrighteous sons. Though they multiply, rejoice not. So if you're having plenty of children that are unruly, don't rejoice at all. Except the fear of Yah be with them. That's the only time you rejoice when you're having children, is when you're having children that the fear of Yah is in them. Can trust not thou in thy life, in their life, neither respect their multitude. Don't respect like the multitude of the children that are keeping on righteousness. Just like Alayab, you know, Job. All his children were waste, you know. So all of them had to be destroyed, you know. And then he had righteous children in the new kingdom. And better it is to die without children than to have them that are unrighteous. Do you hear? That's what Shamaziah was saying. So it's better not to even touch a woman. It's better not to have, you know, it's better to have not to have any children at all than to have unrighteous children. because all a waste. You're not going to be able to build a kingdom. Your essence, the righteousness, is not going to be passed from generation to generation. With that, they're all going to get destroyed. So what's the point? Okay. Now let's go to seeing the importance of children. Still, Sirach chapter 30, verse 1. Hear this. Are you with me? Okay. I'll read it out to you. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to fill the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. So if you're with the mindset that what women have today, oh, you can't discipline my child, oh, you can, whatever, and if you haven't even sorted that out, it's like that's too much stumbling. But it's better not to even have children. It's better not to even touch a woman. Just don't deal with that. Do you get what I'm saying? Let's keep on going. Verse 2. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Like we saw, it's like an arrow in the hand of a mighty man. When you teach your son in righteousness, you're grieving the enemy, because you can never die. Let's keep on reading, it'll tell you that. What is inside of your essence, your spirit, is never going to die. From generation to generation, you're going to keep on passing it on. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, so though I die now, yet he is as though he were not dead, because I got Abiyah, and I'm going to raise him up in righteousness. For he has left one behind him that is like unto him. He's left one behind him that is like unto him. Let's see the same thing in Isaiah chapter 59. Are you starting to see the importance, Ak?
I've already seen.
You're breaking up, Ak. I'll just read it till you get back on. I'll start from verse 2. It says, but your iniquity hath separated between you and Ahiah, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. Now let's jump down to verse 21, because now it's like generations are disconnected from Yah, right? Verse 21 now says, as for me, this is my covenant with them, says Ahiah, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words, which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed. So it won't depart from your mouth, it won't depart from the mouth of your seed, forever and ever and ever. Nor out of the mouth of thy seed, said Ahiah, hence forevermore. Hallelujah. So forever and ever and ever, your seed constantly will keep on going. And then if you jump down now to Isaiah chapter, because remember this was all one manuscript, so they broke into chapter and verses. So if you see in Yeshaya chapter 60, jump down to verse 21 and 22. Now says, thy people also shall all be all righteous, every one of them, every generation will be righteous. They shall inherit the land forever and ever. That's what eternity means. The branch of my planting, the works of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, a small one a strong nation. I, Ahiah, will hasten it in its time. Very important that you have your seed, or else what you built in righteousness is going to die in your generation. But you need to first of all be built first. I need to first of all count the cost, whether you have sufficient to build up your Magdala being your tower, your wife being your tower. Do you have sufficient to finish building her to the point where even when you leave, she can impact that righteousness into your seed, and that your seed is in righteousness all your seeds are gonna, and the seed after that will be in righteousness. That's what you need to count the cost. Okay, so let's just get that scripture. Luke chapter, I don't know if you're talking, but I can't hear you properly. It sounds very, cut the phone, cut the call, and then call back. Okay, cut the call and call back. It sounds very, very funny. Yeah, cut the call and call back. Luke chapter 15 verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower? Which of you intending to build a tower? Sirach chapter 26 verse 22 says the tower is talking about. It says, you know, a wife, a good wife is a tower against death to her husband. So which of you intending to build a tower doesn't first count the cost whether it has sufficient to finish it. Alright, so you need to be able to count the cost. And then it's going on to say here now in verse 28, for which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost whether he has sufficient to finish it. Okay, alright, so less happily, verse 29 now says, less happily after he has laid the foundation, he is not able to finish it. All that behold it begin to mock, saying, this man began to build, was not able to finish. You're building a kingdom, so you have to be kingdom minded. So if you're building a kingdom, you've got to count the cost whether you have enough to finish what you started building. Let me reconnect this. So you need to count the cost whether you have enough to finish what you've started. Or else, everyone that looks at what you're building is going to say, look, you know, what are you doing? You started building and all of that righteousness, all of that stuff you said died in your generation. Okay? So that's this part of kingdom mindedness. Okay, is there anything else I need to cover in this part? Let me just get Sirach chapter 7 verse 23. So when you're as you're building your Magdala, building your tower, building your kingdom, a certain mindset you've got to have, a certain way that you've got to build your house in order. Always has to have the order in your house. Just like you see within Genesis chapter 35. That's better. Yeah, it was a bit funny initially, so I was trying to tell you to cut it, but it just had that electronic sound. Did you hear what I was saying though?
Yeah.
Right. So like you see, when you're building your kingdom, it's about having kingdom mindedness. When you're building your kingdom, you have to have a specific way. You have to be, as a man, most men need to know how to be a man. Just like Ahaya is strict with us and it chastises and rebukes us, we need to have that same mindset of our Abba, of our Father, Yah. We need to be strict with our family. You are the king of your house. You are the priest of your house. You need to set your house in order. Just like you see with Jacob, you know, it says Yah said unto Jacob, arise and go unto Bathia. You know, the house of Yah, Bathia. Bath means house. And dwell there, and make there an altar unto Yah, and appear unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. And Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away your strange powers and that are among you, and be clean and change your garments. So he had to set his house in order, and then they all obeyed him and they followed exactly what he said, and he set their house. He was able to set his house in order. When you see in Sirach chapter 7, right, Sirach chapter 7, what verse do I want? Let's start with verse 14 because we're dealing with a specific situation. That's how we even started in this teaching about elders. Verse 14 says, use not many words in the multitude of elders. This woman was not just using many words, she was cursing and like all sorts of profanity was coming out of her mouth. She want to lick down the elder. This is even saying there has to be a reverence, there has to be a way you fear, elders. It says, use not many words in the multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. All this all connected. Shouting and crying and you have to have a reverence and a fear for Yah. When you babbling and calm down now, who do you think you're talking to? Are you still there? It's like all of that is no reverence. You're trying to force Yah's hand to do what he needs to do. He knows exactly what you need, so he'll give you what you need when he wants you to have it. But we want to force his hand. Y'all calm down now. Y'all calm down. Who do you think you're talking to? That's because we don't even have respect for our elders. So look at this generation right now. You talk to your mom like you talk to, or you talk to your dad like you talk to anybody, like you talk to your mates. You have to have a fear when you come to your dad's presence, but we don't understand that. That's the problem. Use not many words in the multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. Verse 23. Hast thou children, instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Bow down their neck, humble them, so make them submit, push their head down so that they don't depart from it, so that they have a humble spirit. If you let them even in the slightest become proud, they're going to destroy your name. They're going to destroy everything that you built. Let's get Sirach chapter 26, verse let's start from verse 7. Let's start from verse 6. But a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman. All of that was happening was all through jealousy, right? And a scourge of the tongue which communicated with all. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that has hold of her is as if he held a scorpion. That's how I felt. That's how I'm gonna leave. It's like me being here is almost like I'm holding a scorpion. Like I'm seeing all of this filth. Verse 8. A drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. They didn't even cover their shame. Right in the altar on the Shabbat. All sorts of filth. Right? The whoredom of a woman may be known by her haughty looks and eyelids, by that proud look, by that, I'm gonna lick your mom down kind of thing, like pride. You can know the whoredom of a woman. No one needs to tell me she's a whore to know she's a whore by their actions. But a good tree cannot bear bad fruits, a bad tree cannot bear good fruits. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through much liberty. And that's why I had to rebuke the shepherd. Too much liberty, you're letting all of this filth. Now, if you got to count the cost. Are you going to be able to build them up to the point where they're going to fear Yah? Well, you're not building them up. You're just letting them do whatever they want to do. And then you want to complain? No, this is you. This is what you're building. Deal with it. Because it's an extension of yourself. Because a shepherd is supposed to be like a father, right? And the way you're supposed to deal as a father, you're supposed to keep everyone in check. You don't just let anything happen. Your father. That's why, like Yachanan in 1 John, he says he spoke to the children, he spoke to the fathers. Your father. So whatever you're allowing in your house, it's you that has to deal with that. Right. So I've connected it all together as one. So yeah, man, it's like elders need to just understand how to, or shepherds need to understand how to be shepherds, and like it says in, I'll finish it off with Malachi chapter 4 verse 6. It says, Start with verse 5. Behold, I will send Aliyah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Ahiah. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So this is where we are right now. You know, before all of this stuff that we're claiming to be righteous is all this hypocrisy. Yah is restoring the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and hearts of the children back to the fathers, so that the children can know how to speak to fathers, and the fathers know not to provoke the children neither. Because you can't be telling the children to respect you and you're not keeping righteousness yourself. Just like you see in Ephesians, it says, fathers, do not provoke your children. Let's read that. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 1. Children, obey your parents in Ahiah, for this is right. So your parents in Ahiah, when it says children, your parents, is speaking about your elders as well. You know, like you see the commandment, thou shalt honor thy fathers and thy mother. The fathers plural, and thy mothers, that it might be well with you, and you might eat the good of the land. Children, obey your parents in Ahiah, for this is right. This is right. Obedience to your parents. You can't say you obey Ahiah and you're not obeying your parents, you're not obeying your elders. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with a promise. Hold on. Which is the first commandment? What is the first commandment? Love Ahiah with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your strength. So the way that you honor and you love your fathers and your mothers is the same way that you show your love by honoring and loving your elders. You see that? So that's what Shamayaza. Because someone will say, hold on, that's a contradiction there. It's not the first commandment, because the first commandment is love Ahiah with all of your heart, all of your strength. Yes, you reverence, fear, you serve your fathers, physical fathers, your elders, with all of your energy, with all of your strength. You honor every word, you follow their instructions. As you do to your physical elders, that's how that's showing that you love Ahiah. Just like we read in Yachanan chapter 5. You can't say you love Ahiah and you don't love your brother. You can't say you respect Ahiah and you fear him when you don't fear your elders that have been appointed over you. But the elders today are hypocrites, and they provoke the children, which we'll read afterwards. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment, with a promise that it might be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. Because if you honor your fathers, your children after you will honor you too, because it's sown a spiritual seed. Let's keep on going. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Don't provoke them to start to get angry, but bring them up. So you can't now start to get angry because they're going against you when you didn't bring them up in fear and in righteousness. But bring them up and nurture them and nurture and admonish. Bring them up in the nurture and admonition of Ahiah. Bring them up in the nurture and admonition of Ahiah. You've got to bring them up. Train the child in the way they'll go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. You have to do that. So you can't complain now if you're reaping the fruits of what you've sown. What do you think is going to happen automatically? Okay. So I'll finish off with that same Sirach chapter 7 verse 14. I'm going to emphasize that again. Use not many words in the multitude of elders. People need to. This is what kingdom mindedness. Many of you think you have to understand the ways of Yah. You're far from it. This is what kingdom mindedness series is about, and I'm going to keep on with this series because this is what it's all about. Seek first the kingdom and His righteousness, and every other thing will be added onto you. Far from Yah. Use not many words in the multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. So you see how it parallels the elders to Yah. So the way you're using multitude of words with your elders, talking to your elders as if you're talking to your mate, is the same way that you're talking to Yah as if you're talking to your mate. The same way you don't fear, your elders, your physical elders that you can see, is the same way you don't fear Yah. So you can't pretend, you can't claim to fear Yah, and then you disrespect your elders. You do not fear Yah. It's a parallel. Okay. And on that note, okay, yeah, we're gonna do one more thing. Because like I said, with every kingdom-mindedness teaching, kingdom-mindedness is turning back to our language as well. So we're gonna learn another one. The first, we did one commandment already. I don't know if you remember it. The first commandment is what? Thou shalt have thou shalt have no other powers before my face. I think that's the one. Yeah, no other powers before my face or besides me. And it's La Yahaya Laka Alahayam Akhayam Il Kanya. La Yahaya Laka Alahayam Akhayam Il Panya. Panya, pan, face. Ya, my face. So have no other gods besides or before my face. La, no, not, none. La Yahaya, none. Yahaya, Haya, be, before, there be. So La Ya 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 La Yahaya, don't have any, there be. Alahayam, powers. Allah, power. Alahayam, powers. God, gods, right? Don't have any other gods. Alahayam, Akhayam, Akhayam, don't have any other gods before my face. Alahayam, Akhayam, Alahayam, La Haya, Yahaya, Alahayam, Akhayam, Il Panya. I'll say that slowly again. La Yahaya, Yahaya, there be. La, no, not there be. Don't have, not there be. La Yahaya, Alahayam, powers. Alahayam, Akhayam, Il Panya, not there be any powers before besides my face. Okay, Alahayam, Akhayam. I want you to memorize that as well, Nathan. So that first commandment, Alahayam, La Yahaya, La, no, La Yahaya, Alahayam, Akhayam, Il Panya. Okay, and then once you memorize that, we'll move on to the second commandment, step by step, and eventually we'll finish the whole 10 commandments. And on that note, I say Shalom Haya al Ata, Kal, peace be unto you all. Shalom.
Shalom.